Lu Jingyao glanced at my hands covered in soap bubbles, then at my old blue cotton jacket covered in patches, a hint of disgust flashing in his eyes. He then stiffened his neck and said, "Su Wan, this is Lin Meng, the ticket seller at the county bus station. I brought her back today to tell you something." I didn't say anything. I just looked at him quietly. In my past life, he brought someone back in the same way. I cried and begged him on my knees not to divorce me, begging him to stay because I took care of his paralyzed father and supported his younger siblings' education. And what was the result? He looked down on me, calling me a haggard housewife who only knew how to do laundry. Lin Meng even pointed her finger at me and called me a parasite. "Su Wan, let's get a divorce." Lu Jingyao took out a neatly folded piece of paper from his pocket and slapped it on the stone table in the courtyard. "Lin Meng is pregnant, and I have to give her and the child an explanation. I know how hard you've worked all these years. This house is yours, and I'll give you an extra 5 yuan a month for living expenses. Enough for you to survive in the countryside." Lin Meng sweetly took Lu Jingyao's arm and said, "Sister-in-law, brother Jingyao is a company commander now, and he'll be promoted to officer in the future. You, a rural woman who can't read a single word, will only hold her back if you follow him. Brother Jingyao said that as long as you sign the papers, he will definitely treat you well." Hearing the commotion, the mother-in-law inside came running out, slipping on her shoes. She was taken aback at first, then her eyes swept over Lin Meng's fashionable clothes, and her face immediately lit up with a smile. "Oh my! This must be the Lin family's daughter. She's so pretty. Zhenyao, you didn't even tell me you were coming back." My mother-in-law didn't even glance at me, as if I, her daughter-in-law who had served her for 3 years, was just invisible. "Mom, I'm bringing up divorce with Su Wan," Lu Zhenyao said in a deep voice. My mother-in-law's face stiffened for a moment. She glanced at me, then at Lin Meng, and finally gritted her teeth and said to me, "Wanner, Zhenyao is successful now. He has a bright future. You're always busy around the stove, and you really don't have anything in common with Zhenyao. Why don't you just let them be together? Don't worry. You don't need to worry about your father-in-law's room anymore." I sneered inwardly. Don't I need to worry about it? My father-in-law needs to be bathed 3 times a day, and I have to clean up his excrement and urine. I also take care of the meals for the whole family of 6, as well as the clothes and shoes for my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. Isn't that all done by me? Su Wan, Lin Meng's hands with those red-painted nails. Could they possibly touch a ball of excrement? "Okay," I said calmly. The courtyard fell silent instantly. Lu Zhenyao had prepared a whole host of threatening words, but they got stuck in his throat. Lin Meng's smug smile also froze on her face. "What did you say?" Lu Zhenyao looked at me in disbelief. "You agreed." I said I agree to the divorce. I walked to the stone table, picked up the divorce agreement and glanced at it, but I'm not satisfied with the terms on it. Lin Meng immediately shouted, "Su Wan, don't push your luck. Brother Zhenyao has already left the house to you. What else do you want? This house was originally the ancestral property of the Su family, left to me by my parents when they passed away. Lu Zhenyao, don't you feel ashamed to give me my things?" I stared at Lu Zhenyao with eyes like knives. Lu Zhenyao blushed. This house was indeed the one the Su family arranged for him to move into before he joined the army, when they held a marriage contest. "So what do you want?" Lu Zhenyao frowned. "First, Lu Zhenyao, the total allowance you sent home over the past 3 years is 1,080 yuan. Your mother-in-law says it all went to pay for your younger brother and sister-in-law's tuition and household expenses, but I have the accounts. Your younger brother and sister-in-law's miscellaneous fees are only 3 yuan per semester. The food we eat is what I grow, and the money we sell is what I embroider. Most of your allowance has ended up in your mother-in-law's pocket. Since we're getting a divorce, we need to settle the accounts for the nursing care I've provided for my father-in-law and the food expenses for the whole family over the years." I turned to look at my mother-in-law, who was nervously backing away. "Secondly, since Lin Meng is pregnant, if you want to take the blame for disrupting a military marriage, I won't stop you. If you don't want to, then give me 500 yuan as compensation." 500 yuan. Are you crazy? The mother-in-law shrieked. You're a barren hen. What are you worth that much money? I'm worthless. But Lu Xingyao's future is valuable. I looked coldly at Lu Xingyao. Company Commander Lu, do you want to keep your job? Or do you want to make a scene at the regimental headquarters with me for 500 yuan? Lu Xingyao's face turned extremely ugly. He knew that if he really went to the army to cause trouble, his job as company commander would be over. Lin Meng also got anxious and tugged at Lu Xingyao's sleeve. Brother Xingyao, don't waste your breath on her. She just wants money. Give her or not. Just say the word. I turned and went into the house, taking out a stack of yellowed account books. These clearly record in which year and month I bought how much medicine for my father-in-law and how much cloth for my brother-in-law. Lu Xingyao, while I was staying up late at home mending clothes. You were watching a movie in the county town with this Miss Lin, weren't you? Lu Xingyao stared at the dense handwriting on the ledger. It was his handwriting, the evidence of his 3 years of painstaking effort. His eyes held a complex mix of guilt and, more than anything, the embarrassment and anger of being exposed. Okay, I'll give it to you. Lu Xingyao gritted his teeth. But I don't have that much money right now. You have it. I looked at him confidently. Your settlement allowance for becoming a full-fledged cadre just came in. A total of 600 yuan. And it's in the inside pocket of your shirt. Lu Xingyao shuddered and subconsciously touched his chest. That was the money he had saved to buy Lin Meng a gold ring and to hold a wedding banquet. Sign it. He takes your things and gets out of my house with your Miss Lin. I pushed the rewritten agreement in front of him. From now on, the eating, drinking and sleeping of these 6 members of the Lu family will have nothing to do with me. Su Wan. Lu Xingyao stared intently at me, as if he were seeing me for the first time. His hand trembled as he signed his name, then pulled a wad of still-warm banknotes from his pocket and slammed them onto the table. Su Wan, you'll regret this. Without me, a divorced rural woman like you won't even be able to afford food. I grabbed the 500 yuan, counted it in front of him, and then pointed to the door. Get out. When Lu Xingyao left with Lin Meng, his face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Lin Meng's delicate leather shoes sank into the muddy yard, her feet sinking deep and sinking shallowly. As she muttered a complaint about the strong fishy smell, she probably didn't know that the smell was coming from her father-in-law's room, because I hadn't had a chance to go in and change the mattress he'd used all night. Zhenyao, did you really give him all the money? His mother-in-law shouted from behind, slapping her thigh and wailing. That's our family's hope for the second half of the year. Zhang Wei still needs to pay his tuition, and Zheng Feng needs to buy cloth to make new clothes. How are we supposed to live? Without turning his head, Lu Xingyao roared, Mom, just shut up. I stood at the door, watching their disheveled figures leave, and felt as if the heavy stone that had been weighing on my heart for 3 years had shattered into dust with a boom. I wasn't idle. I went back inside, carefully tucked the agreement and the 500 yuan into my pocket, then turned and went into the kitchen. I cooked the remaining bowl of flour until it was burnt, and fried myself 2 golden brown, crispy pancakes. For the past 3 years, all the good food had gone to the Lu family. I'd get scolded by my mother-in-law for wasting oil even if I just licked the rim of the bowl. I had just taken a bite of the steaming hot pancake when my mother-in-law stormed into the kitchen like a whirlwind, pointing her finger at me and yelling, Su Wan, you jinx. You took the money and you're still not out. Who told you to touch the flour in the house? That's for Zhang Hui to nourish his body. I slowly chewed the biscuit, swallowed it, and then looked up at her. Auntie, this grain was planted by me, 1 hoe at a time. In the spring, the land deed is in my name. Su Wan. The agreement clearly states that Lu Xingyao will leave with nothing. Every blade of grass and every tree in the yard, except for his military uniform, is mine. You shrew. My mother-in-law trembled with rage, reaching out to snatch the pancake from my hand. You've taken my son's money, and now you want to keep the house. I'll tear you apart. I grabbed the kitchen knife from the stove and slammed it down on the cutting board with a loud thud. The old woman's hand froze in midair, her eyes wide open, and she made a clucking sound in her throat, not daring to take another step forward. I used to respect you as an elder and tolerate everything. Now I have nothing to do with Lu Xingyao anymore. If you dare to lay a hand on me again, we'll go to the commune police station and report you for burglary and assault. My voice wasn't loud, but every word was like a shard of ice. Your father-in-law is still lying in the room. He peed. Aren't you going to change him? Aren't you going to do anything about it? The mother-in-law finally managed to utter these words after holding back for a long time. That's your man. Your son's biological father. I sneered. Isn't Lin Meng a ready-made ticket seller? Her hands are so precious. She can come back and do her filial duty. By the way, your father-in-law had diarrhea this morning, and the mattress is probably soaked through. You should go and get busy. No sooner had I finished speaking than my father-in-law's hoarse, unpleasant shouts came from the inner room. My mother-in-law's face turned pale and then ashen. She was used to being a hands-off manager. How could she stand that? But seeing the gleaming kitchen knife in my hand, she could only shrink back and mutter curses as she walked into the inner room. A short while later, the sounds of the mother-in-law gagging in disgust and the sister-in-law Lu Zhengfeng's shrill voice came from the inner room. Mom, this stinks too much. I'm not doing this. Let Suwan do it. He's gone too far. Zhengfeng, quick, go and call your brother back. I can't live like this anymore. Listening to all this noise, I only had 2 words in my mind: exhilarating. I went back to my room to pack my luggage. To call it luggage was a bit of an exaggeration. It consisted of only 2 sets of old clothes to change into, a few handfuls of fine embroidery thread, and the family heirloom embroidery needles left to me by my parents. Before leaving, I pushed out the bicycle that Lu Zhengyao's younger brother, Lu Zhengwei, cherished like a treasure. Suwan, what are you doing? That's my car. Lu Zhengwei had just come home from school and saw this scene. He rushed over to stop me. This kid is 17 years old this year, tall and strong, but he watches me carry water and chop wood every day without a care in the world. I bought this car with the money I earned from embroidery, and I got the ticket through someone else. Lu Zhengwei, didn't your brother leave you any instructions after the divorce? Nothing in this house belongs to the Lu family. I kicked away the kickstand and pushed the car out. Stop right there. Lu Zhengwei reached out to grab my bag. I slapped him across the face, making him spin around in a circle. After studying for several years, you've forgotten all about propriety, morality, and a sense of shame. I've served your whole family for 3 years. Consider this old car as interest. I hopped on the bike and sped away from the cage that had imprisoned me for 3 years without looking back. As I passed under the big locust tree at the village entrance, many idle women were sewing shoe soles. Seeing me carrying a bundle and riding a bicycle, they all craned their necks to look. Oh, Warner, are you going back to your parents' home? I'm not going back to my parents' home. I stopped the car and said loudly, I'm divorced from Lu Zhengyao. He brought a woman from the city back with him, and the agreement has already been signed. Aunts, if anything happens to Lu's father-in-law in the future, please don't say it's because I didn't take good care of him. After all, I'm no longer Lu's daughter-in-law. The crowd erupted in uproar. Lu Zhengyao had always been known in the village as a great hero and a model military officer. And now the news of him bringing a woman back to the village and forcing his wife to leave spread throughout the entire commune in less than half a day. I rode my bike, the wind whistling past me. The county town in the 1980s was full of life. Although the streets were not wide, the department store and the supply and marketing cooperative were already crowded with people. Instead of going to stay with relatives, I went directly to the eastern suburbs of the county town and found a cheap house. The owner was an elderly woman who lived alone. Although the house was small, it had a large window with excellent lighting, making it suitable for needlework. Girl, judging from your accent, you're from the village downstairs. Why did you come to the city alone? The old lady asked curiously as she handed me the keys. Going to the city to make a living. I smiled and didn't explain further. I divided the 500 yuan in my pocket into 3 parts. 100 yuan was deposited into the credit union for emergencies. 200 yuan was used to buy a sewing machine and fabric. And the remaining 200 yuan was my working capital. These days, girls in county towns are no longer satisfied with wearing blue, green, and gray work clothes, especially those young wives with government jobs who love to dress up. When I passed by the department store, I paid special attention to the ready-made clothes from Shanghai. The styles were nice, but the stitching was rough and the cut was stiff. I sat in front of my newly bought Butterfly brand sewing machine, my hands touching the delicate Dacron fabric. I closed my eyes, my mind filled with the Suzhou embroidery techniques I had studied for over a decade. Lu Jingyao thought I would starve to death without him. He didn't know that in my past life, I worked day and night taking on embroidery jobs just to stay in that family. The pieces she gave as gifts and my mother-in-law sold for money could fetch astronomical prices in the provincial capital. In this life, these skills belong only to me. I stayed up all night to make a fitted, long-sleeved white shirt. At the collar and cuffs, I embroidered a very subtle yet three-dimensional pattern with the same color silk thread. Under the light, the pattern seemed to move, exuding an air of nobility. The next morning, I changed into this shirt, combed my hair into a neat bun, and headed straight for the largest department store in the county. The target was clear: Sister Zhang, the wardrobe department manager who was known for her sharp eye in her previous life. On the second floor of the department store, at the ready-made clothing counter, Sister Zhang was frowning at a stack of newly arrived Dacron shirts. Oh dear, why are the collars of these sample shirts from Shanghai still so stiff? What young people these days like this kind of old-fashioned style? She muttered something under her breath, then looked up and saw me walking by. I deliberately turned to the side, letting the subtle pattern around my neckline shimmer under the counter's incandescent light. It was something I'd embroidered all night. The threads as fine as cow's hair. This technique of flat embroidery combined with layered embroidery allowed the pattern to appear and disappear in the light and shadow. Understated yet extremely textured. Sister Zhang stared at me intently for a long time, as if her eyes were glued to me, and finally couldn't help but ask, "Young lady, where did you buy this shirt? How did you get those flowers on the collar?" I smiled, my attitude neither humble nor arrogant. "Sister, you have a good eye. I embroidered these flowers myself. I didn't buy them." Upon hearing this, Sister Zhang immediately came out from behind the counter. She reached out to touch it but was afraid of getting it dirty. She clicked her tongue in amazement. "You embroidered this yourself? The stitches are even more delicate than those of the master embroiderers in the provincial capital. The design is also excellent. Look at the waistline. It's so well tailored. I used to work in the commune's embroidery factory for a few years, and I haven't lost my skills." I took out a sample that I had made overnight from my bag, a light blue overcoat with Chinese knot buttons, with a white magnolia bud about to bloom embroidered on the front. "Sister Zhang, do you think this would catch the eye of the girls in the county town if it were displayed here?" Sister Zhang took the garment, her expression instantly turning serious. She examined the hidden stitching on the reverse side repeatedly before finally uttering a sentence. "Young lady, with your skills, if you opened a tailor shop in our county, you'd steal all the business from everyone else. How about this? I'll keep this sample garment. Our director is coming to inspect the shops tomorrow, and I'll introduce you. What do you say?" "Okay, then I'll trouble you." "Sister, I didn't waste any time. I left my address and left." I knew that in the 1980s, when resources were just beginning to become abundant, people were no longer satisfied with simply dressing warmly, but wanted to dress beautifully. As long as I could get on board with the department store, my first pot of gold would be secured. As soon as I stepped out of the building, I bumped into Lu Zhengyao. He was with Lin Meng, and the two of them were arguing in front of a food stall at the entrance of the department store. Lin Meng was carrying a bag of white rabbit milk candy, and her face looked terrible. "Lu Zhengyao, what did you promise me back then? You said you'd buy me that Shanghai watch when we went to the city, but now you're even stingy with the money for a pound of snacks." Lu Zhengyao frowned, his voice low. "Lin Meng, you know I gave all 500 yuan to Su Wan. I haven't received my allowance for this month yet. Mom sent Zhang Wei over again, saying Dad's medication has run out and they urgently need money. That's your family's mess. What does it have to do with me?" Lin Meng shrieked. "You said Su Wan was hardworking and capable, and could help you take care of the family, but you just kicked her out. Now your mother comes to the station every day to complain to me that there are mountains of clothes that no one is washing, and your father-in-law poops in his pants and no one cares. Is that my job?" I pushed my bicycle past them without looking at them. "Su Wan." Lu Zhengyao recognized me immediately. He looked me up and down, his eyes filled with astonishment. At that moment, I was wearing a shirt I had personally altered. My hair was neatly combed, and I exuded a completely transformed spirit. There was no trace of the peasant woman who used to wash clothes in the mud. "What are you doing here?" Lu Jingyao subconsciously took a step forward, his tone filled with a panic that even he himself didn't realize. "What's it to you? I didn't even stop the car." My voice as cold as ice. Seeing this, Lin Meng grabbed Lu Jingyao's arm and said sourly, "Oh, isn't this Sister Sue, dressed so fashionably? Could it be that you've already found a new partner after the divorce? I was wondering why you were so quick to pay. It turns out you were prepared all along." I stopped, turned my head, and looked at her with a half-smile. "Miss Lin, instead of worrying about my next suitor, you should worry more about your own stomach. By the way, Lu Jinyao, your mother cried at the brigade headquarters yesterday, saying that the house is a mess. Your father-in-law's bedding is infested with worms, and Jiang Wei is so hungry that he has to go to the neighbors' houses for food. Since you brought such a virtuous city girl back with you, you should let her perform well, so that the villagers don't laugh at you, the company commander, for finding an ancestor who can only apply red lipstick but can't even clean up after someone. Su Wan, don't go too far with your words." Lu Jingyao's face turned ashen. "You know perfectly well who went too far." I got on my bike and casually tossed out a sentence. "I wish you two a lifetime of love amidst all that poop and pee chores." I started pedaling my bicycle, the wind ruffling my hair. Behind me came Lin Meng's relentless cursing and Lu Jingyao's irritated shouts. Back at my lodgings, I didn't rest. I immediately started cutting the next batch of fabric. 2 days later, Sister Zheng sent me a message through someone, saying that the director was very impressed with the dress and wanted to meet me. Upon arriving at the department store office, Director Wang, a middle-aged man in his 40s, exuded authority. He spread the white orchid-patterned jacket on the table and went straight to the point. "Comrade Su, we acknowledge your craftsmanship. However, we are a state-owned enterprise and cannot simply stock private goods. But we can explore alternative cooperation methods. Please speak." The province is holding a clothing exhibition and competition next month, and each county has a quota. If you can represent our department store and design a few sample garments, and win an award, you'll become our exclusive supplier. I'll give you a referral. You can get the fabric and thread from the department store at cost price. How about it? This suits me perfectly. I need fame, and I also need stable sources of raw materials. Make a deal. For the next 2 weeks, I hardly left the house. I chose the most difficult to work silk satin and combined it with the random stitch embroidery technique from Suzhou embroidery to make a modernized cheongsam that was absolutely avant-garde for this era. Just as I was working myself to the bone, the old lady led someone into the yard. "It's Lu Jingfang, Lu Jingyao's younger sister. This girl used to be the most arrogant person at home, never even looking at me properly. But now she's disheveled. Her clothes are wrinkled, and she started crying before she even entered the door. Sister-in-law. No. Su Wan, please save me. Mom took my tuition money to buy medicine for Dad. That vixen Lin Meng not only refused to give me any money, but also took the last 10 yuan my brother sent back to buy leather shoes. My brother is in the army and can't come back, and we really can't make ends meet." I put down my embroidery needle and looked at her coldly. "Lu Jingfang, the day your brother brought Lin Meng back, didn't you say, 'Finally, I don't have to see this old hag's face anymore'?" Lu Jingfang stood in the courtyard, sobbing and wiping away tears. Her disheveled appearance was a far cry from the former demeanor of the eldest daughter of the Lu family. "Su Wan, I was ignorant before. I'll apologize to you." "Okay." Seeing that I didn't respond, she was so anxious that she tried to grab my sleeve. "Go back to the compound and see. That woman Lin Meng is simply not good at managing a household. She complained that my dad's room smelled bad, so she nailed all the windows shut, and my dad was suffocating in there, his face turning red. Mom asked him to cook some noodles, and he used baking soda instead of sugar, so the whole family's mouths tasted bitter. Mom talks about how good you are every day now, saying that as long as you're willing to go back, she will definitely treat you like her own daughter. I reacted as if I'd heard the biggest joke in the world. I held the embroidery needle firmly in my hand, plunging it into the silk, without even looking up. Lu Jingfeng, what does it matter to me whether your mother loves me or not? Whether your Lu family is suffering or not? That's your own choice. Isn't Lin Meng a ticket seller in the county town? That's a legitimate, secure job. With her around, how could the Lu family possibly lack food? That's a load of rubbish. A secure job. Lu Jingfeng stomped his foot in exasperation. She complains that my brother doesn't pay her enough. And she hasn't been back to the old house in the countryside for days. She's been holed up at her parents' house in the county town every day. My brother even had to go back to the army before he finished his leave because of this. Now there's not even anyone to cook at home. I still have to take the college entrance exam. How am I supposed to have time to wash those stinky mattresses? I put down the embroidery frame and sneered. So what? You came to me wanting me to go back and continue being a free nanny so you can go to college. Your mother can enjoy her retirement. And incidentally help Lu Jingyao keep his precarious home. We're willing to give you money. Lu Jingfeng lowered his head guiltily, his voice barely audible. Mom said she'll give you 10 yuan a month. 10 yuan. I stood up, flung open the door, and pointed at the nearly finished modified cheongsam on the table. Lu Jingfeng, open your eyes and look. The department store paid me more than 50 yuan for making this one dress. Do you think I've lost my mind? Or did I owe the Lu family something in my past life that I have to go back and serve that bedridden old man? Lu Jingfeng was dazzled by the shimmering cheongsam. She opened her mouth, speechless for a long time. Although she was not an expert, she could tell that the fabric and the embroidery were definitely not something a country tailor could produce. Go back and tell your mother that since you're divorced, you should never see each other again. I pushed her to the gate of the courtyard. If she dares to come and harass you again, I'll write directly to Lu Jingyao's unit and ask him how that model worker allowed his family to harass his ex-wife. Lu Jingfeng was so frightened that his face turned pale, and he ran away as fast as he could. Having seen off the plague, the last trace of weakness I had left in my heart, belonging to the Jiangsu and Anhui region, completely disappeared. 2 weeks later, the provincial capital's clothing exhibition and competition was held as scheduled. I took 3 sample garments with me and boarded a long-distance bus to the provincial capital with Director Wang from the department store. The exhibition and competition venue was located in the Provincial Cultural Center, where fashionable people wearing sharp suits and sporting big, wavy hair were everywhere. My designs were displayed prominently. One set was a white orchid patterned shirt, another was a modified dark blue suzhou embroidered cheongsam, and the third was a fitted suit dress specifically designed for professional women. Which factory submitted this? The embroidery is simply amazing. Look at the cut of this cheongsam. It perfectly outlines the figure of us Eastern women. And the key is that the neckline is not stiff at all. A murmur of discussion arose. Director Wang, beaming from ear to ear, kept introducing him to the crowd. This is Comrade Su Wan, the designer specially hired by our county. Unsurprisingly, my work won the gold medal. After the awards ceremony, many department store managers from the provincial capital gathered around, and even some heads of foreign trade companies. I didn't rush to sign the contract. Instead, I proposed setting up my own studio in the county town. I would provide sample garments and technical guidance, while the department store would handle the sales. Just when I was becoming famous and busy preparing my personal brand, Lu Jingyao reappeared. He came alone this time. His beard was unkempt. His once crisp military uniform looked somewhat loose, and he exuded a sense of dejection. He stood blocking the doorway of my workshop, watching me direct the workers as they moved the sewing machines. Su Wan, let's talk. His voice was hoarse. I gestured for the workers to continue, then turned and went inside, without even pouring him a glass of water. Tell me, which member of the Lu family is sick this time, or who can't afford the tuition? Lu Zhenyao sighed heavily, sat on a small stool, and grabbed his hair with both hands. Lin Meng is gone. She had an abortion, saying that my salary was too low and the family burden was too heavy, and she couldn't take it. Her parents used their connections to transfer her to the bus station in the provincial capital. I looked at him, my heart unmoved. That's good. Miss Lin has high standards. The provincial capital is indeed more suitable for her. Now that she's gone, you can go back to your hometown and take care of your parents in peace. Su Wan. I regret it. Lu Zhengyao suddenly looked up, his eyes red. I went back to my hometown, and it's no place for a human to live. Mom looks 10 years older. Jiang Wei skips school to catch fish. And Dad is covered in bed sores. I used to think that what you did was what you should have done. But after you left, I realized that without you, that family couldn't function at all. So, you want me to go back and put out the fire? Let's remarry. Lu Zhengyao stood up urgently, trying to grab my hand. You've become successful now, and I've come to my senses. As long as you're willing to come back, I'll give you all my salary to manage. I'll also talk to Mom and make sure she never yells at you again. Su Wan, we've been married for 3 years. You can't just end it like that. I took a step back in disgust, looking at him as if he were trash. Lu Zhengyao, you dare to mention the word favor? I sneered, pulled a newspaper from the drawer, and slammed it on the table. Look at the front page. Su Wan, winner of the provincial capital's gold medal. His current net worth is hundreds of times your company commander's allowance. I can live in a big house, wear the finest silks, and be respected. Why should I go back to that stinking, urine-filled house to serve a family that once wanted to kick me out? Looking at my glamorous photos in the newspaper, and then at the rows of brand new machines in the studio, Lu Zhengyao's lips trembled violently. You really are this heartless. You're the heartless one. I pointed outside the door. From the day you brought Lin Meng into the yard, Su Wan, who did your laundry and cooked for you, was already dead. Get out. Don't dirty my floor tiles. Lu Zhengyao walked away dejectedly, his steps unsteady like a ghost. I stood by the window, watching her forlorn figure disappear into the alleyway. In my past life, she used the same, deeply affectionate yet helpless, demeanor to deceive me into becoming his stepping stone for a lifetime. Lu Zhengyao left dejectedly, but the mess in the Lu family did not end with his departure. 3 days later, I was checking the first batch of pre-orders with Director Wang at the department store when Lu Jiangwei, the lazy and good-for-nothing brother-in-law of the Lu family, swaggered into the office. His white shirt collar was covered in black mud. His hair was a complete mess, and he started yelling at me as soon as he entered. Su Wan, what right do you have to sell that bicycle from home? I need it to go to school. I didn't even look up. Continuing to flip through the ledger, I bought that car, and I can sell it whenever I want. If you have a problem with that, have your brother come find me. You. Lu Jiangwei slammed his hand on the desk in anger. Now that you have money, you're turning your back on us, aren't you? My mother is sick, delirious with fever on the Kong, and she keeps calling your name. She said that you were the one who was formally married into the Lu family, and even if you're divorced, you still have to go back and see her. That's a matter of courtesy. Director Wang, who was listening nearby, frowned and was about to call security when I raised my hand to stop him. Sentiment. It's disgusting to hear those 2 words come out of your mouth. I closed the ledger and stared at him coldly. Your mother is sick. Is it because she's worried about the 500 yuan? Or because she's worried that there's no one at home to do her laundry and cook for her? When I was working myself to the bone in this yard, you were busy stealing money meant for your father-in-law's medicine to buy soda, weren't you? Now that nobody cares about you, you're worried. Lu Jiangwei's face turned pale and then red when I hit the nail on the head. The Lu family has now become a laughingstock in the village. I heard Lin Meng found someone more capable in the provincial capital and dumped Lu Zhengyao long ago. Lu Zhengyao, due to his misconduct, has been embroiled in a bitter dispute with his family, received a demerit in the army, and his promotion plans are completely ruined. My father-in-law is bedridden, suffering from severe bed sores on his lower body because no one has taken care of him properly. His cries at night can be heard throughout the alley. My mother-in-law used to swagger around at the village entrance, eating sunflower seeds, because she had me as her punching bag. Now she has to deal with a pile of excrement and urine every day, and 2 crying, demanding children who only know how to ask for money. I'm not going to waste my breath on you. Mom said if you don't go back to see her, she'll come here and make a scene. letting everyone in the county know you're an unfilial daughter-in-law," Lu Jingwei said defiantly. "Okay, let her come." I stood up slowly. "A reporter from the provincial newspaper is coming to interview me tomorrow on the topic of independent women in the new era. I'm just worried about not having any material to talk about, how I was exploited by my in-laws for 3 years, and how my company commander husband forced me to divorce him with his new lover. Tell your mother to dress in rags. It will make the effect even better." Lu Jingwei was stunned. Although he was a scoundrel, he was still afraid of losing face, especially of affecting his so-called future, of not being able to get into university. You're really ruthless," he said harshly, then slunk away. Getting rid of this burden didn't make me feel any lighter. I know this kind of person is like a leech, never stopping until they've sucked every last drop of blood. To get rid of this family completely, I accelerated the relocation plan for my studio. Director Wang helped me find a 2-story building facing the street in the downtown area of the county town. The first floor would be the shop, and the second floor would be the design studio. On opening day, I hired a drum and gong troupe from the county. When the red silk was pulled back, the 4 large characters, Roll-Up Sleeves Boutique, were revealed. I stood at the store entrance wearing a modified Zhongshan suit with a dark floral pattern that I designed myself, watching the wealthy ladies and fashion-conscious young women from the city who came to visit. "Oh my, is this the designer who won the gold medal in the province? So young, so elegant, absolutely. Look at how well these clothes are made. Wearing them makes you look like someone from a painting." Business is booming even more than I expected. Before, when I was with the Lu family, I had to be mindful of my mother-in-law's attitude even when buying a roll of embroidery thread. Now, a single order I sign is worth several years' worth of Lu Jingyao's allowance. While busy taking measurements for a customer, an uninvited guest appeared at the door, Lin Meng. She was clearly not doing well. Although she was still wearing red lipstick, her white polyester shirt was already yellowed, and her eyes revealed anxiety and dejection. "Su Wan, let's talk." She leaned against the doorframe, her tone no longer carrying the arrogance of the past. I took her to the tea room in the backyard. "Tell me, why did you give up your promising future in the provincial capital and come back here?" I poured her a glass of water. Lin Meng gritted her teeth and suddenly lowered her voice, saying, "Su Wan, it's true that I was pregnant with Lu Jingyao's child, but Lu Jingyao doesn't know. Actually, before I even registered our marriage, I found out that he had no money at all. He sent most of his monthly salary home, and the rest was barely enough to buy me a decent piece of jewelry." Looking at her, I felt nothing but irony. In our past life, she fought me to the death for this man, but in this life, finding no profit to be gained, she ran away faster than anyone else. His mother is a complete madwoman. Lin Meng shuddered. "The last time I went to her house, she actually made me wash the pile of my father-in-law's urine, saying it was a daughter-in-law's duty. I slapped her and ran away. I can't help but laugh when I imagine that scene. Evil people always have their own evil counterparts to deal with them." Lin Meng's pampered and selfish personality is the perfect remedy for dealing with the Lu family's mother-in-law. "Su Wan, Lu Jingyao is drinking every day now. He can't stay in the army anymore and will be discharged soon. He can't let go of you, actually. He can't let go of your money. You have to be careful. His mother has already asked around about the rent for your shop. The whole family is planning to stay here and not leave." I picked up my teacup and gently blew away the foam. "Thank you for reminding me. But Lin Meng, what do you want from telling me all this?" Lin Meng smiled somewhat awkwardly. "I lost my job as a ticket seller. Are you hiring?" I have a loud voice. I can read, and I can help you sell your goods. I glanced at her. Hire her. That would be like inviting a wolf into the house. But I didn't intend to reject her outright, because she had a better use. I can hire people, but not here. I looked at her. Lu Jingyao will be back soon after his military service. As long as you can keep an eye on him and prevent him and his mother from causing trouble here, I'll give you 20 yuan a month for your trouble. Lin Meng's eyes lit up. Deal. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's much cleaner to let Lin Meng entangle the Lu family than to do it myself. At night, I sat alone by the window on the second floor. looking at the dim yellow lights on the street. Lu Zhengyao, in this life, I want you to watch me reach the top, and then watch your proud home rot and collapse little by little due to your weakness and your family's greed. In the spring of 1984, my brand, Wanqiu, had already gained some fame in the provincial capital, and my shop in the county town had become a well-known fashion landmark. I was busy sealing a batch of export embroidery when a loud commotion came from outside the door. Lu Zhengyao was transferred to civilian work. He didn't get into the county bureau he dreamed of, but was assigned to a remote forest farm as a security officer. The first thing he did when he returned was not to report to the forest farm, but to lead his paralyzed father, his frail mother, and his two timid brothers-in-law and sisters-in-law to put up a banner in front of my shop. Everyone, come quick. This heartless woman has abandoned her family after making money. Her father-in-law is bedridden and dying, and she hasn't even paid a single penny for his medical expenses. The old woman sat on the ground, wailing loudly. Lu Zhengyao, dressed in a faded old military uniform, with a scraggly beard, leaned on his wheelchair, his eyes revealing a kind of desperate madness. Su Wan, come out here. Lu Zhengyao shouted into the store. I don't want your money. I just want you to come home. You've seen the state of Dad now. He's always been good to you. You can't be so heartless. A crowd of onlookers gathered outside the shop, pointing and whispering. In this day and age, reputation can be deadly. Lu Zhengyao had calculated that I valued my pride and was trying to force me to comply. I pushed open the glass door and slowly walked down the steps. I was wearing a dark green high-necked cheongsam, with a cashmere shawl draped over my shoulders, and the sound of my leather shoes tapping on the bluestone slabs was crisp and pleasant. Lu Zhengyao, is this what you mean by not asking for money? I pointed to the banner that read, "Demand 3,000 yuan in alimony," and asked in a cold voice. The mother-in-law paused in her sobbing, then threw a tantrum, rolling on the ground. That's what you owe us. It's your duty to serve your in-laws. All the money you have now comes from the Lu family. You have to pay it back. I ignored her shouting and instead turned to the crowd and waved. Fellow villagers, since the Lu family wants to air their dirty laundry, I can't hide it either. Director Wang, please bring out the county bureau's security records. Director Wang was already waiting with several security guards, holding a piece of paper stamped with a red seal. Lu Zhengyao, the reason you were transferred to civilian work is because of your misconduct during your time in the army. You brought a woman back to your hometown and forced your wife to leave, resulting in a serious administrative warning. I read it aloud, word by word. Lin Meng has already written to the forestry leaders about how you got that 500 yuan you gave her. Now you're probably losing your job as a security officer, aren't you? A murmur of dismay rippled through the crowd. Those who had initially sympathized with the Lu family instantly changed their expressions. You're talking nonsense. Lu Zhengyao's face turned pale. Whether I'm lying or not, just ask your sister. I looked at Lu Zhengfeng, who was hiding behind me. Zhengfeng, the Shanghai watch your brother bought for Lin Meng was paid for with your tuition money. Now that you can't go to school, is it my fault? Under everyone's gaze, Lu Zhengfeng burst into tears. Feeling wronged. Brother, you said that as long as Su Wan left, Lin Meng would take me to work in the city. You lied to me. This statement definitively confirmed the Lu family's conspiracy. Want money? Sure. I walked to the wheelchair, looking at my father-in-law, whose eyes were crooked, mouth drooping, and who reeked of urine. His clothes were covered in greasy black grime, and the stench of bed sores could be smelled from 2 meters away. I turned to my mother-in-law. According to the law, I have no obligation to support my father-in-law, but similarly, as the eldest son, Lu Zhengyao has a greater responsibility. How about this? Since you say I haven't done my duty, let's ask the comrades from the commune and the Women's Federation to judge this. From today onwards, my father-in-law will be sent to the county hospital, and I will pay half of the medical expenses, but the other half, including turning him over, washing him, and cleaning up his excrement, will have to be done by you, his son, personally. Lu Zhengyao, are you willing? Lu Zhengyao was stunned. How could a man who prided himself on being a gunman possibly do the dirty work of caring for a paralyzed elderly person? What? Not saying anything now, I sneered. You only want my money to fill the hole in your Liu family's coffers. But you don't want to do any hard work. Your mother keeps saying I'm heartless. But I took care of my father-in-law for 3 years. And he didn't even get a single bruise. You took over for 3 months. And he's almost rotting away. Who's really heartless here? The Liu family was instantly engulfed in a shower of spittle from the onlookers. How shameless. He's treated his own father like this. And he still has the nerve to ask his ex-wife for money. Serving in the military to this extent is a disgrace to our ancestors. Lu Jingyao opened his mouth. But faced with the condemnation of everyone, his pretentious pride completely collapsed. He suddenly pushed his wheelchair, ignoring his mother who was still sitting on the ground, and tried to rush out of the crowd with his head down. Stop! I called out to him, my voice eerily calm. Lu Jingyao. The divorce agreement clearly states that we're even. If you dare bring people here to cause trouble again, I'll hand over the evidence of you falsely claiming leave for family visits and embezzling comrades' pensions sent home over the years. Don't think I don't know where that money came from. That was something he told me in a drunken slip of the tongue, and I've remembered it ever since. Lu Jingyao froze, glancing back at me as if he'd seen a ghost. His eyes filled with terror. He dared not linger a second longer. And dragging his weeping mother-in-law along, they fled the street like stray dogs. That evening, I was sitting in the shop checking the accounts. Lin Meng quietly came in through the back door. Sister Sue, about the 500 yuan. I said it the way you taught me. She wrung her hands, looking somewhat flustered. Here's 20 yuan for your trouble. I pulled a 10 yuan note from the drawer and handed it to her. Well done. What's the situation with the Liu family now? It's a complete mess. Lin Meng pouted. Lu Jingyao got fired from the forest farm and now he's drinking and beating his younger brother every day. His mother brought her father-in-law home to take care of him herself to save money. But yesterday she made the old man fall off the Kong, a heated brick bed, and he broke his leg. Sister Sue, you're amazing. How did you know so much about Lu Jingyao? I took a sip of warm tea and looked at the brilliant sunset outside the window. The truth. He made that up himself. I don't need to lift a finger, just take back the protection I once gave them, and their fragile family logic will collapse like dominoes, due to greed and selfishness. In the depths of winter in 1985, the first snowfall in the county town was thick. I stood on the second-floor balcony of the Wanqiu flagship store, holding the outstanding township entrepreneur certificate issued by the province. At this point, I was no longer just running a shop. My garment factory had provided employment for hundreds of women in the county. At the end of the street, a dilapidated cart creaked and groaned as it glided through the snow. That was Lu Jiangwei. He had dropped out of school, and his hands, once proud of being a scholar, were now covered in chilblains as he struggled to pull a cart full of coal ash back home. Looking at his hunched-over neck and cloudy eyes, I felt no emotion whatsoever. A few days ago, Lin Meng passed by and brought me some updates on the Liu family. Lu Jingyao is completely ruined. After losing his job at the forest farm, he tried to go south with others to resell cassette tapes. But because he was greedy for small gains, he was swindled out of everything and left with a mountain of debt. After returning home, his personality became gloomy and violent. He gets drunk every day and beats and curses Lu Jiangwei and Lu Zhengfang when he's drunk. His mother-in-law broke her back in a scuffle and can only move around by holding on to the wall. The Liu family's courtyard now reeks, and even passing dogs avoid it. The worst off is the paralyzed father-in-law, due to a lack of care. On that cold winter night, because his mother-in-law forgot to seal the stove, he suffered carbon monoxide poisoning. Although he survived, he completely lost consciousness and lies on the Kong, heated brick bed, like a rotten piece of wood. Sister Sue, Lu Jingyao came to see me yesterday. Lin Meng stuffed the wages she had just received into her pocket and said with some lingering fear, he asked me if I could introduce you to him, saying that as long as you were willing to give him some money to pay off his debts, he would never show his face in front of you again. His eyes were like those of a hungry wolf. It was terrifying. I put down my teacup, my expression calm. What did you reply? I told him that you're going to the provincial capital tomorrow for a ribbon-cutting ceremony and also representing the county to study in Beijing. You're so busy you don't even have enough sleep. You don't have time to deal with this piece of trash. Lin Meng sneered. He still wanted to come here, but the joint defense team that Director Wang called chased him away. He's probably hiding under some bridge to avoid debt collectors now. I nodded. This is the most perfect ending I could give the Liu family. To let them hate and torment each other day after day in the quagmire they dug themselves, until they exhaust their last breath. The next morning, a county bus pulled up in front of my shop. Director Wang came to see me off personally, his face beaming with pride. President Su, this trip to Beijing is an honor for the entire county. Keep up the good work. I was about to get on the bus when a figure wearing a tattered military overcoat and reeking of sour smell suddenly emerged from the crowd and was firmly stopped by security guards. It's Liu Zhengyao. He was so old I almost didn't recognize him. Half of his hair was white, and there was a hideous bruise on his face. He stared at me intently, his eyes filled with pleading, jealousy, and above all, a desperate regret. Su Wan, please save me. He cried out in anguish. I really know I was wrong. I was blinded by greed. If you help me pay off that debt, I'll be your slave in my next life. Okay. I stopped, turned around, and looked at him from a distance, separated by several security guards and a patch of snow. Liu Zhengyao, when I was working like a slave for you, you were busy plotting with Lin Meng to kick me out. The debt you incur now is the path you chose yourself. As for saving you, the thing Su Wan is most grateful for in her life is that she signed that divorce agreement on the stone table that day. You can't be so cruel. I'm your man. He struggled frantically. You are not. I looked away, my voice cold and firm. You were just a stumbling block in my life, but I have already overcome it. I got into the car, and the moment the door closed, I completely shut out his desperate cries. The bus slowly started moving. As it passed the alleyway where the Liu family's old house was located, I saw Liu Zhengfeng squatting at the door washing a large basin of icy, dirty clothes. She was wiping away tears as she washed. That scene was so much like me 3 years ago, but I know she wasn't. She didn't have that kind of ruthless determination to survive. She could only decay alongside her loved ones in that tomb-like home. The car drove out of the county town and sped towards the vast plains. Sunlight pierced through the clouds, shining brightly on the snow-covered land. In this life, I will no longer be anyone's nanny, nor anyone's stepping stone. I am Su Wan. My own brilliant and illustrious life has only just begun.